United Matters channel it is, and this is Rock and David onto the United Matters channel. Tuchel to United hopes over. It's a question mark. It's a question mark. Can it really turn heel? See to it that it's really back on the ladder. This is what you're going to be talking about. Toby Collier making his debut for the England under-21s, and then we also have a very big story coming in through from Lindelof speaking after his return and making his debut and making his first minutes for the club of Manchester United this season. Welcome to this channel. Smash like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rock and David is my name, and hope you guys are really having fun. And this is what we do on a daily, and we bring you the latest news and information in here for you guys. I think we last went live after the game of Aston Villa, right? And today I was like, I want to record this video, and my mind was like, but Rokan, why don't you go live and really talk to your fans directly? Because I see lots of questions into the comment section, and I was like, I have to obviously come in here and obviously drop something huge, obviously talk to my people in here for you. I see Katinisa already into the live chat saying, hey already, hey Katinisa, and hope a Sunday, all your Sundays really taking you well. So let's see close to 100 likes much in this video. We're going to be dissecting these stories that I've gone ahead obviously talk about, and we'll see how we will really give you the best of the analysis. But guys, continue to subscribe because we want to hit 20,000 subscribers, and let's make it happen before the end of this month, and let's be the 20k family. David Zimola, thank you for watching through. Sentongo Pius, I see you. Onesmus says, my friends, I'm following from Kenya, all right. And Bwamiki Derek is also really watching in through. Now, I was one of those people that told you that Thomas Tuchel looks like he's really trying to build momentum to his coming to Manchester United. And in the previous 2 weeks, Thomas Tuchel has been echoed a lot to join the club of Manchester United, but a lot hasn't gone ahead to go his way, right? And a lot hasn't gone ahead to go his way, and he has come up and obviously put in a very huge shift altogether. And I tell you what, he's really working tooth and nail to see to it obviously gets himself a job, but it has not gone ahead to be easy. But looks like there is a story that was really broken coming from Germany, and I was like, is it really credible? But Christian Falk is really a very good journalist, and we note it that he's a close ally to Thomas Tuchel. If you remember when Thomas Tuchel was at Bayern Munich, this was the guy that broke most of his stories concerning players and so on and so forth, and they used him to provoke or to really counter the stories that could have gone here to come up to affect the brand of Thomas Tuchel, and they came out to defend him. Now, I think it is 2 days back, a story was really put out about Thomas Tuchel, and it was all about Thomas Tuchel linked with Manchester United, is negotiating for the position as a national coach of England. Now, this story of Thomas Tuchel negotiating to become the coach of England came in through after England lost to Greece by 2-1. Remember, England is still under the caretaker manager. Interim is the man. Interim manager is really taking over the side of England, and Thomas Tuchel is like linked to that job. And I was like, all right, now they've gone ahead to obviously find an escape route from their linkage to the club of Manchester United, because I told you 80% I was sure Erik Ten Hag is going nowhere, and I told you 20% Erik Ten Hag can be sacked. My reason, all my leaning to Erik Ten Hag to come into and obviously not get sacked has always gone ahead to be onto the precedent that these people will obviously set. That is it. Because if you are to count the official operation, all working together of Ineos and Erik Ten Hag, we count it from the summer. You know, after the other season really ended, these people that filled up the structure of Manchester United to become really functioning just came in through at the beginning of the summer transfer window. I remember, I remember Dan Ashworth was there. Omar Berada came in through on the 14th. And now, that's why you saw to it that a lot really came in as transfers when these two people were already at the club of Manchester United. You remember? So, we can really say that they've just worked with Erik Ten Hag from July to where we are right now. It's 2.5 months of this effective structure operating at the club of Manchester United. Now, meaning that Omar Berada and Dan Ashworth are the ones responsible to really make recommendations to the board that Erik Ten Hag should be sacked. You understand? Those are the people responsible to make those recommendations to the board, to Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Joe Glazer, Jean-Claude and Dave Brestford, that this guy should be sacked. And if they make that recommendation, then the top hierarchy will obviously come and really make a decision. Now, why would you make such a decision for a person you've just gone ahead to work with for only 2 months? You think you've gone ahead to see his highs and lows in just 2 months. And for that, it's okay for them to sack him. That is it. It's okay for them to sack him. I have no problem. But what precedent would you have set? Because if you sack Erik Ten Hag in just 2-3 months of working with him, that means if a new manager comes in through and doesn't really deliver, these fans will tell you, all right, the other one was sacked when he had only managed 10 games at Manchester United. Why don't you sack this one? You get? So, I believe that they've gone ahead to make a brilliant decision. And how is this decision brilliant? Go ahead, use Erik Ten Hag as a case study at Manchester United to get to know the problems that are really failing the club of Manchester United to the core. I think that's what you're supposed to be doing. And I respect the opinion of people who are saying that Erik Ten Hag should be sacked. It's not that I don't want him to be sacked, but my worry has always been that you sack Erik Ten Hag now. Do you think you would have gone ahead to prepare a soft landing ground for this new coach, or he's really going to come in through and fall into the turmoil that Erik Ten Hag has been into? So me, that's my concern. You get? Sacking Erik Ten Hag is not my problem. I've already told you, they can sack him anytime. But my worry has always been, will the new manager not find a toxic environment like the previous managers have always gone ahead to inherit, from David Moyes to the Dutch manager, that is Louis van Gaal, from Louis van Gaal to Jose Mourinho, from Jose Mourinho to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to Ralf Rangnick, from Ralf Rangnick to the man called Erik Ten Hag. Now, we need to really get these things right, and this is where the board shouldn't obviously hurry to sack Erik Ten Hag. I tell you, if Erik Ten Hag is to be sacked, he will be sacked. But if you sack him, are you really 100% sure that the replacement is not gonna really have the same problems that Erik Ten Hag, Jose Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, Ralf Rangnick went ahead to face at the club of Manchester United? That is the huge question, and I think that is how we should really be looking at this. You know, I'm not saying he shouldn't be sacked. People are like, you like Erik Ten Hag? You like Erik Ten Hag, you don't want him to be sacked. How many times have I told you that Erik Ten Hag has sacked himself because of clinging to Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford? I've said it on several occasions, and I don't know why people really don't understand my input or output on this. You know, it's not that I don't want him to be sacked. I don't believe it's the right time to let him go, because this board hasn't gone ahead to obviously dig deep into the problems of Manchester United. I want Omar Berada and Dan Ashworth to really get to the root of the problems of Manchester United, because I told you that Man United needs to really get back to the basics. And the basics were got right by Ineos when they brought in people that are supposed to run this club. Until now, they are still recruiting people to obviously complete the puzzle of the hierarchy. structure for the club of Manchester United. So for me, that is my big worry. And I don't want a new manager to come in through and obviously fall a victim of the previous. You get? You might say that let him be sacked. I don't say no to your suggestions, but let's look at the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture of the club of Manchester United? If we really let this man go right now without knowing the problems of the club of Manchester United, sacking has not gone ahead to be a decision at Manchester United, because if Arsenal talk about sacking, they now have results in sacking Unai Emery, and they've gone ahead to get in Mikel Arteta. How many seasons did Mikel Arteta need to obviously turn around Arsenal to take it where they deserve to be? He came in through, I think, on 19th of December 2019. He has been here for 2020, 2021, 2022. And he was first here for 3 years to take Arsenal into that season of 2022-2023 to compete for the trophy. You understand? So, look at Liverpool sacking the likes of Kenny Dalglish, sacking Rafael Benitez, sacking this other guy who is now the manager of Celtic, Brandon Rodgers. You get? All that looked like it paid off results when they brought in Jurgen Klopp. You get? When they brought in Jurgen Klopp, it went ahead to obviously pay huge results into the beautiful game of football. You understand? So, at Manchester United, we haven't gone ahead to obviously get positive results from sacking. We haven't gone ahead to get them. So, that's why I don't look at it as a solution. Because, look at Man City. There was Mancini. He left, and he won. They brought in Pellegrini. He was there. I think he won something for them. And then Pep came in through. So, their sacking has gone ahead to pay off. And the team that has seen sacking people pay off hugely has been the side of Chelsea. Chelsea sacked Ranieri. They brought in Mourinho. Mourinho won them the Premier League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. He failed to win the Champions League. They sacked him. They brought in, I think, Scolari. Scolari failed. He was sacked. They brought in Boaz. You get? After bringing in Boaz, who was an assistant of Mourinho at FC Porto, he also failed. He was sacked. Now, I think they went in for Carlo Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti came in through. He won. He got sacked. Carlo Ancelotti was sacked. They brought in... was it Mauricio? I think Mourinho had to come back. Then he won. He was sacked. They brought in Mauricio Sarri. There was Di Matteo. There was Avram Grant. There was Conte. There have been and very many other managers. Tuchel came in through, and I think is the last person to win them a trophy in the Champions League of 2021. So, I'm not saying that sacking Erik Ten Hag is inevitable, but for me, I don't want us to go back to the problems that we've always wanted to be facing at the club of Manchester United, like Ed Woodward and other people really went ahead to obviously bring, because sacking him as a manager doesn't solve the problem, because these players will down tools. We have to get to know, why do these players act like this? You get? Why don't they really track back? So, those are the things that we need to get to know at Manchester United. But all I know, if Erik Ten Hag's time for getting sacked comes, he will get sacked. But I think this is not the right time to obviously give a manager a sack. Like I told you at the beginning of the season that Ten Hag, I'm giving him 10 Premier League games. 10 Premier League games. And he has gone ahead to play 7, and he has gone ahead to perform badly. Let's all admit. And he's left with Brentford for me, West Ham, and Chelsea. Those are my 3 games that I think are really going to really turn around the season of Erik Ten Hag. If he doesn't really make a very huge turnaround, I tell you what, Ten Hag will obviously get himself out of the club of Manchester United, because by then we'll be in November, all towards the start of December. I think that's what we'll be. But for Thomas Tuchel as a person, I'm this kind of person who doesn't really believe in him. And when you look at the market that we're really having, we don't have very many managers. I've seen someone in the comments talking about Zinedine Zidane. This is Derek Bwamiki says, what of Zinedine Zidane? I understand you might be an admirer of Zinedine Zidane, but as it stands, Zinedine Zidane is not interested. And I tell you, no competent coach would like to obviously come in through into a sinking boat at Manchester United. I think United is sinking. And to know that it's sinking, look at how you're really performing. You get this board needs to be here for 1 or 2 years, and then everything will get into full pelt. But right now, a lot has to be really put right. It's a house that was built on different foundations with different engineers. You get? So we need to get the basics right from the bottom. And when someone says Zinedine Zidane, I know he's a very reputable coach. He won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. He returned at Real Madrid after really taking a break and won them the league and went ahead, obviously, going to sabbatical. Rumor has it that he's even learning English, meaning that he's a very huge opportunity to come and really manage into the Premier League. You get? And we all know to it that Jean-Claude and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Dave Bracefold, have been working so much in France, and they might have gone ahead, obviously, have him on their list, obviously want him to obviously come in through and do the job. But my biggest question is, when you look at the plan of Ineos, we have gone ahead to invest a lot into what we call young players. You get? Lenny Yoro, he's 18. You get? Look at the academy, the Chido Obi Martins, Sedu Koni, the Lusales of this world. They're really young, and they're just 1 or 2 years away from really getting into the team of Manchester United. So when you look at the other crop of young stars that are really coming in through, Harry Amaz, Toby Collier, you can talk about Lessie, you can talk about La Fletcher twins, you can talk about Ethan Whitley and very many others. This other guy, Dan Gore. Do you think that the manager coming in through will obviously have to really improve them and have the quality to take them to the next level? That is my huge question, because we might be here, but these players are needing a manager who knows to obviously groom them and obviously take them to the next level. Because when you look at our academy, it's really doing good, and I think it's just us choosing the right manager who has a track record of really grooming youngsters. Zinedine Zidane really formed a team that was at its peak. I can really read to you that team and you tell me amongst all those players who was really inexperienced. Let's go. I think, was it Thibaut Courtois in goal or Luka Casillas was one of the two? Right back, Carvajal, experienced player. Third, left back, Marcelo. By the time he was one of the best left backs in the world. Then we go to the central defense. You can talk about Sergio Ramos and Rafael Varane. You get? Arguably, it was the best centre-back partnership or the best centre-back partnership in the world. In the midfield, hear this. Casemiro, Toni Kroos, and Luka Modric, all at their peak. Then, on the right attacking side of the midfield, they really had a player called Angel Di Maria. On the left, they had Karim Benzema. Leading the line was a player known as Cristiano Ronaldo. Hear that quality. That's why people have reservations onto how or onto whether Zinedine Zidane can be the guy. Because if he really had a team of lesser quality, would he have gone ahead, obviously, come in and really put in that shift? And that's why people are like, why doesn't he obviously return to trade? Why doesn't he return to coaching? Because if he believes he's that good, then why doesn't he return? Why doesn't he return? Because if he really trusts his tactics, then he should obviously come up and return and do the best. So let's wait and see how that pans out. But I'm not saying that Erik Ten Hag shouldn't leave, but I don't believe it's the right time for him to leave. Ten Hag should leave. Ten Hag should leave when I think we've gone ahead to obviously create a very good atmosphere for very many managers. And I tell you, if the atmosphere was right at Manchester United, you would have gone ahead to hear the agent of Zinedine Zidane trying to put out stories in the media that are really super positive about this. He would have gone ahead to do so. You understand? So let's obviously get in some of your comments. Onesimus RD morning, all right. Gilbert from Zambia, thank you for watching through. One Resource, how are you, my brother? All right, thank you. Nuagaba Boaz, good morning. Is it true or not? He's not coming to Manchester United, that is it. Then we are having Ashaba Deus. Morning, Rokani. Have a blessed Sunday, you too. Then Sinyele, watching from Zambia, Lusaka, thank you. Then Zinedine Zidane is coming at United. No way. I haven't gone ahead, obviously, come across a story like that. Onesimus Tune, who is expected to take over after Ten Hag. Now, the problem that Man United is really having in the takeover are the limited options. The market doesn't have appetizing managers. Most of the managers that we should come in through and obviously take over Manchester United should first resign from their jobs to join the club of Manchester United. And I've already told you that I'm looking at two managers. One, first and foremost, I'm looking at a manager coming in through from Germany. That is Nagelsmann. And I don't think that having gone ahead to compete to the German national team until the World Cup in 2026, we can obviously get him. Ruben Amorim is another one that I believe we can get, but I think in the summer, right? In the summer, we can obviously come up and really get him. But when you look at the managers that really are viable, talk of Allegri, I don't think that he's really that good to come and really turn around Manchester United. Who else doesn't have a job? You can talk about who? Who? I've talked about Zinedine Zidane. Who else should I talk about? Which other manager doesn't have a job? You know? So guys, I really don't find sacking as a solution. Many of you might be like, he should leave the club of Manchester United. He should go. But it's not the solution because it has been done close to 4 or 5 times at the club of Manchester United. And it hasn't gone ahead, obviously, give us a reason of really sacking another manager. And if we ever sack a manager and you bring in a new manager and wins the Premier League or a Champions League, then I would be like, yeah, we are right to sack the manager. But as it stands, I see no reasons that are really valid for us to go out and really boast on sacking a manager at the club of Manchester United. So I don't find it very, 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 very righteous to obviously sack that manager. Then Onesimus, okay, One Resource Charity says Onana is in Uganda now. Yeah, he's in Kampala, Uganda, and they're really going to be playing against Kenya at Nambole Stadium. Then to Kasaba Adam, no, he has to go. I don't really downplay your decision, but I've told you that. Let's look at the broader picture of this. You know, sometimes we might be looking at the near. Can we look at the far? You know, I've told you that if time for sacking Erik Ten Hag will come, it will come. It will come. And in these other games that Man United is set to play against Brentford at Old Trafford, Fenerbahce away in Turkey, West Ham away in London, Leicester City at Old Trafford in the Carabao Cup, Chelsea in what we call the Premier League, those next 5 games are really going to be crucial. If Erik Ten Hag fails to turn it around, I tell you, it will be over for him. It will be over for him, and sorry about that. I don't see to it that he'll obviously get himself a chance to come back and put in the required shift altogether. So, I tell you what, it's really one of those moments that are really going to define his career or his future at the club of Manchester United. If he's going to be given a sack, then it will depend on his next results in the next 5 games coming in through at the club of Manchester United. Then Signele, let him be sacked. He's doing nothing. Then you're also wrong. You can't say that he's doing nothing. And this is where I really have a problem with people who want Erik Ten Hag out. They are really extremists. That is it. And I don't think that it obviously holds a lot of water if you really try to look at this as a person on a side that is not objective. We have to obviously look at things at the objective side. When you cannot come up and obviously put in the required shift altogether to obviously think that way, you'll obviously be rigid onto your point. And in this world, everything comes to an end. And I believe, for me, I'm going to hate obviously overlook Erik Ten Hag, because Erik Ten Hag is not the main problem of Manchester United. Everyone is like, Ten Hag should be sacked, Ten Hag should be sacked, meaning as if it's like they're sending a picture that if Erik Ten Hag leaves the club of Manchester United, everything is really going to be rosy. No way. It cannot be rosy, I tell you. It can't. The new manager bounce will obviously be there, but for how long? You get? So, we need to go to the core cause of the problems at Manchester United. You get? And if we haven't gone ahead to reach there, sacking a manager is still far. You get? It's still far. If this board had been working with Erik Ten Hag from last season and is performing like this, I would have gone ahead to say, all right, they have all what it takes to obviously sack him. But there is a problem in this house of Manchester United that all the players that Manchester United went ahead obviously get haven't gone ahead. Most of them never really did a preseason. Zexi never did a preseason. Ugarte never did a preseason. Delete never did a preseason. Mazraoui never went ahead obviously do a preseason. Now, people are like, why is he benching Ugarte? Why doesn't he start him? You know, I was there at a certain point X, but you have to understand that football is all about patterns and combinations. Now, if he hasn't gone ahead obviously get into the right patterns of and combinations of Manchester United, then it's really going to take him some time to obviously get into the starting 11 for the club of Manchester United. You understand? Because you saw to it that in the game of Aston Villa, when they played Eriksson and Kobe Mainoo, you saw to it that he could obviously move that ball in the midfield very well and obviously connect to others. But looks like Ugarte, in the game we played against Tottenham Hotspur, he really looked bad. Let's all admit, he really looked bad. So, I don't want us to come here and really judge these other players. Like the Zexis, I've gone ahead to say Zexi is not a good player. I see a very good player in Zexi. But he's playing for the very first time alongside all these players. You get? He hasn't gone ahead to play with Marcus Rashford for long. Amad Diallo, Bruno Fernandes, Garnacho. So he's just trying to learn them. So I tell you what, it's really going to take us some time. You get? To really get this team infused together. And I know at a certain point X, it will click. And even if Ten Hag gets sacked, the new manager who comes in through will need to get these players into the team working into the right patterns and combinations in what we call systems. So I've gone ahead to obviously look at you people, and I respect your decisions and your opinions, but let's go for the wider look at this. Kamati, already good morning, my brother. I'm following you from Kenya. God bless you. This hitting a level of Manchester United fans hitting like a 70-80% Erik Ten Hag out. When it reaches that level, 70-80 Erik Ten Hag out, then there is no fallback. You understand? So I believe that we haven't gone ahead to reach that level. I think it's like 40% of the United fans want him out, and he still has a 60% there in for him. And we all believe that he can turn it around. One Resource Charity. Manager is good, but the problem, those players, others are selfish. My name is Katumba Muhammad, and I've always gone ahead obviously say this, that to turn around a club like Manchester United, you need to obviously move on to all those players that think are the reasons as to why Manchester United should obviously be there. You know, we need to move on players and really get on other players that can get us up and running to where we deserve to be. You understand? So I really agree with you, One Source. But Ten Hag has certain things really getting wrong that he should get right. For example, when does he bench Bruno Fernandes? You get Marcus Rashford. You know, when you saw it when you're playing against Aston Villa after being benched. Sorry, after being got off the pitch when you're playing against FC Porto for not tracking back, that costed us some goals. Against Aston Villa, he was really tracking back, and you saw to it that he really got a yellow card in that game after doing that foul. So, and it was really a recovery or a tracking back foul that was made by Marcus Rashford. You understand? So, Joel Mulea, sacking is not a solution. Watching you from Zimbabwe. Thank you, my people from Zimbabwe. Then David Zimla, I want the board to tell me if they want to keep Ten Hag or not. Obviously, they want to keep him. If they never wanted to keep him, he would have already gone ahead to be sacked. Some news about Leny Yoro. Leny Yoro is really back on the grass, and I think he might feature in one of those games that will some of our I think these 8 games you're gonna play before we go into the other international break. You get, when these players return, they are gonna play, I think, until the 10th of November. So towards the 10th of November, we might see Leny Yoro get back here. You understand? We might see him really get back here and really getting us to where we deserve to be. So let's go to Victor Lindelof. I think I'm going to have to dissect everything concerning that man. Now, Victor Lindelof has said, it's nice to be back. The body is fine and I have been riding hard during the rehabilitation. So it was nice to get 45 minutes at the end. It's always nice to get some match time before the national team. So he got in 45 minutes when Mazorui went ahead to obviously get injured in the game that saw us really put in a very huge shift altogether. So he came in the game of Aston Villa, he put in the shift, and I think he closed down that right side very well as a player. This kind of person who believes that he's a very good defender, but I think United aren't gonna hit obviously give him or reward him a new contract. Let's all admit, I don't see United giving him a new contract at the club of Manchester United. There is no way they're really gonna do that. And as it stands, I believe that he's one of those players that they're looking at obviously let go on a free, as there are no new contract negotiations, and this is where we get it wrong, that why didn't we obviously have to sell this player? You know, he was one of those players that never took part into the Euros, and during the international break he was free and he got himself injured when he returned at Manchester United, so you know that very well. And I was like, he would have gone ahead to be one of those players that we're supposed to be selling, not so, but we couldn't obviously move him on, and even if we got like 10 million euros, it would have gone ahead to be better than nothing. You get? It would have gone ahead to be better than nothing. So, as it stands, I think Lindelof is really playing his last season at the club of Manchester United, and if Leny Yoro returns, and Delete is here, Maguire here, and Lisandro Martinez here, and Luke Shaw here, I don't see him getting ample playing time at the club of Manchester United. That is it. But with Mazorui doubtful, I believe the manager might consider playing him as a right back in the game of Brentford, where Manchester United is going to be hosting Brentford at Old Trafford on Saturday. You get? So, but I believe it's not his time, you know, to obviously be here and see to it that all really goes on as planned. He's here by mistake. He was not part of the plan, because Manchester United, we are looking in for 3 centre-backs and they only get in 2 in Leny Yoro and Matthias de Ligt. So we wait and see that. But I've always gonna love his being ice cold on the ball. Though he's really slow, he's really a very good game reader, and he has been a loyal servant that he has served under very many managers. He was brought in through by Jose Mourinho, you remember that very well. Then there came in another guy called Solskjaer. He served under Solskjaer very well. You remember their partnership known as Lindelof with Harry Maguire. And people were like, Erik Bay should be played into that game or in that centre-back partnership, but he really never got a chance. Then there came in another manager known as Erik Ten Hag. After Erik Ten Hag, there was even Ralf Rangnick before Erik Ten Hag. So he has played under 4 managers, and I think has been a very beautiful servant. And he deserves a send-off that is really great. And I think if he will win something, it will be better for him to obviously say to get a very good send-off at Manchester United. But what are we close to winning at the club of Manchester United? UEFA Europa League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. Because for the Premier League, I don't see United really making a very huge say onto this league. That is it. Then David Izimula, Onana is in Uganda. Yeah, he's in Kampala, Uganda. I saw his videos arriving at the Entebbe International Airport. Odokonyero Johnson, Tuchel is not the right choice for Manchester United. If Tuchel, United should keep Ten Hag. I've already told people, for me, I don't like Thomas Tuchel. Look at his reputation. He was, leave alone when he was at Dortmund. You know, Dortmund is not a team that is really going to stretch your brain and make you think outside of the box and really pile out of pressure. But he has been at 3 teams that have been really piling out of pressure on him. He came in through at Chelsea in 2020, and in 2022 he was gone. At the side of PSG, I think he never really lived there for so long also. He came in at Bayern Munich, I think 2 seasons, gone. So, would you want to have such a manager or such a reputation? I don't think so. So, I think the best manager at Manchester United should be a manager that is going to be for the future. That's why I'm sticking on 2 managers. If you tell me you are getting in Ruben Amorim, I put up my hand and say, all right, get him in, because he best represents this project. He has groomed young stars. He has a very good style of play, though even Ten Hag had it, but we came in that's really trying to obviously get lost. And the other one is Nagelsmann. For me, those are 2 managers that I believe if you are to get in any, they should tick those boxes and they should be brought in at the club of Manchester United. Then London Banda, let us give him time, but he should improve the way he's picking up his team. And the problem we're having is on both sides of management of Man United and the coach, why United bought some players, some key players late. Obviously, that's where everything really gets wrong. And I'm like, the problem I had with this board is that they went in clearly for players who are having involvement at their national team. You understand? The only player who was free that we brought in that never had involvement in his national team was Lenny Yoro. But Manuel Ugarte was at Uruguay. Couldn't we obviously look in for better CDM who was not really having involvements elsewhere? That is a question to Ineos. Then Zexi was brought in through, and he was with Netherlands at the Euros, and they played until the semi-finals. Matas did it the same. Mazraoui was that player that never had any involvement during the preseason, but remember, United took day and night to obviously move on Aaron Bissaka, and that was really my concern. I was like, why did they take that long? But the good thing is that Mazraoui has gone ahead to come in through and is one of the best players of Manchester United this season, meaning that he has hit the ground running, though he went ahead obviously find himself injured in the game of Aston Villa, and he is really under assessment to see whether he's really going to be available, as Man United will be taking on the side of Brentford at Old Trafford, and we await for Thursday's presser coming in through from Erik Ten Hag. Then Ashaba Deus, why didn't they bring the former manager of Barcelona, Xavi? I don't think Xavi has all what it takes to manage Manchester United. You know, sacking is not a problem. Sacking is not the solution. Not until this board is really going to be here for like a year or 2 years. That's when sacking is really going to be a solution, because they will be like, we've gone ahead to obviously get out Erik Ten Hag, and according to the players we're going to have to bring in through, we need to get a manager who knows such and such a philosophy that we are trying to build on. But right now, it's really, really hard to really get in a manager that can obviously overturn or turn around this club of Manchester United. Xavi, for me, he's not a bad coach, but he's also not yet ready for this club. You know, I think Ruben Amorim is better. I think even De Zerbi is better. De Zerbi can do a better job than this guy. Then Kawuchi Hassan, already, I think we can give our manager some time, but even players are not on form. For me, not being on form, it happens to any player. But they are the basics that you have to get right, like the tracking back, the running, that intensity. You get? Because the best way to show that you're really dying for the club is by putting your body on the line. You get? Does Rashford do that? In the game of Aston Villa, I saw him do that. You get? Does Bruno do that? Timely, that is it. But we should be doing it purposefully to see that the club of Manchester United doesn't really concede all those stupid and very bad goals. Then Daniel tells me, giving Ten Hag another chance will never change anything at United because he's changing from bad to worse. I remain Daniel from Uganda. Now, I think you're just going to hate to join me. I've told you that sacking Erik Ten Hag might not be inevitable, but right now is not the solution. So, for you just want to get in a new manager, win you 6-7 games, and the team goes back to where it deserves to be. So, we should really hate what we call the basics right. You get? We should get the basics right. And if we get the basics right, guys, whichever manager comes in at Manchester United will thrive. But if we don't get the basics right, even if you bring another manager, the club of Manchester United, things won't really change, and we won't really get him the best results. That is it. Happy Sichinga says, Tuchel, no. Better to stay with Erik Ten Hag. Even me, that's my thought. Now, let's talk about Toby Collier. Toby Collier went ahead to obviously take part into the game where England went ahead to obviously play against Italy into the under-21s of the under-20s of England. And I think Toby Collier, there is a very beautiful player in him. And when I look at these players and people saying sack Erik Ten Hag now, I'm like, we are gonna get another problem at Manchester United, like the one we got when they sacked when you remember, Aden Januzaj was one of the big players that came in through under David Moyes. You remember that very well. But when Louis van Gaal came in through, one of the people that we really liked in grooming players, he never really went ahead to thrive. But the beauty of Louis van Gaal, he brought in very many youngsters. Bostwick Jackson, he brought in Blanket, he brought in Jesse Lingard, he brought in Marcus Rashford. There was this other guy, is it Valero, who used to play as the right back. You know, he brought in a couple of players at the club of Manchester United. And I was like, all right, all is really going to be fine and okay. So I think we need to find a better replacement for Erik Ten Hag, if need may be, and that person might, or has to be, it's a must, has to be having a good track record when it comes to obviously grooming youngsters. But if that person doesn't have that track record, then I won't find it very sent obviously bring him on. So guys, thank you for watching it through. I think we've gone ahead to obviously have a very good say about the story of Thomas Tuchel. Those who are already gonna watch this video later, I'll be waiting for your reactions into the comment section below. So Rokan David is my name. I sign out for now. See you later. And it's a Sunday, so we are just 5 days away from Premier League return. Good enough, all the players of Manchester United that played yesterday, no one got injured. Dalot never got injured. He played for Portugal. Bruno never gonna hit to get injured. He got himself an assist yesterday. And then Rasmus Højlund and Eriksson played yesterday. None of those got an injury. So we wait to see in this coming starting week whether these players will be returning home physically fit. Manuel Ugarte went ahead to play for Uruguay. He played the central defense. He never really got himself injured. Lisandro Martinez I think he also went ahead to feature for Argentina. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. I sign out for now. See you later. Thank you for being part of this morning live, and I'm planning to really drop in more and more and more. But in 2 hours from now, 2-3 hours, I'm going to be dropping a very huge video concerning Mazorowi, Bruno Fernandes, and Eriksson. I think you are going to really enjoy them. Should I bring Rasmus Højlund first? I think I should bring